Hello, guys. Welcome to Farming in Africa. We are doing what we do best by bringing you very educational and impactful content on agriculture. And today, we are diving right into what we do best, which is livestock farming. If you've decided to embark on the journey of livestock farming like we have for the past 5 years, then please don't go anywhere. This episode right here is for you. Today, we want to talk about the kind of breed to start your livestock farming with, and in this case, to start your goat farming with. And as always, we bring you the expert knowledge on these issues. And so, I have Fred with me today, who, as you know, is an expert on these, has been in the livestock farming industry for 5 years and running. He's been vulnerable with us throughout the entire journey. And so today, we are going to trust what he's going to tell us because, be rest assured, it is tried and tested and proven. Let's go to Fred as he tells us today on how to even know the right breeds to start your goat farming with. Hello, Fred.
Hi, Nadia.
Good to have you today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Please take us away. You've already heard some of the concerns your followers have, and some who are not even following, but they just want to venture into livestock farming. And so, one way or the other, they heard of where to go to get the expert knowledge. And that is why we are here today to once again seek your knowledge on the right breeds anybody at all out there can start goat farming with, please. Blow us away.
Thank you very much. And I think the breed also depends on what the farmer wants to do. So every goat farmer should have its own agenda.
Oh, okay.
So there are so many different type of goat farming. The two that I want to talk about is, are you farming for consumption,
Okay.
right? Or are you farming for breeding? Right? So if you're farming for consumption, then you have two types. Are you farming for milk or are you farming for meat?
Okay.
Right. So most people in Ghana and in West Africa do farm for consumption.
Yes.
If you go to East Africa, there is more milk than West Africa, I would say, not meat. If you come to West Africa, we farm more for meat than for milk, because the milk is still something we are learning, and I don't know when we're going to get there. But goat milk is very precious in so many different parts, but not, unfortunately, not in our part. So most people farm for their meat. So if you're farming for meat, then now I can tell you what kind of breed of goats do you need to farm for meat. Contradictory, what we have here that most people have or would like to use is actually not the best for meat. So the best goats to actually use for meat are the South African goats. So there are about three kinds of goats, which is the Boer goat, the Savannah goat, and the Kalahari red. So they are all over the world the top good quality goats to have for meat. Then in West Africa, we have the West African goats. Our West Africans like our smelly goats, but the issue for you, I'm talking to as a farmer, is that you want to get value for your time and investment. And therefore, that's why I said what we have here is also not the best for meat. But from the consumption side, looking at the consumer's perspective, that is the best because they like their goat smelly. You know, small meat on it, but at the end of the day, he will buy more and eat it. But you, the farmer, is not getting the value. So there is that. And then there is also the Sahelian goats that are gradually intruding into Ghana specifically. And those are coming from Mali, Burkina, Niger, right? At the moment in Ghana, most people are consuming the Sahelian goat without even knowing, because the West African goats, in a way, are running short because we are not doing them commercially. So consistency of supply is not available. So people are going into Burkina, to Niger to buy the Sahelian. So you might go to your local choba and buy a goat's meat, and you will see it doesn't really smell like the goats that you know. It's because they are not purely the West African goat that we are used to because of lack of supply. So number one, you need to ask yourself, what are you going to do? Are you producing for the meat market? Are you producing for the milk market? Are you producing for other farmers? And therefore you become a breeder of goats.
So let me get this right. If you want to consider the breed to start your farm with, first of all, you should know the kind of farm you are looking at, right?
Yes.
And you should also know, I'm sure, your local market. Is that something we should consider?
Yeah, so your market will tell you the kind of farmer you become.
Oh, okay.
Because if
Okay.
your market
Okay.
is a milk consumption market, then you say, I'm going to be a milk goat farmer,
Okay.
right? If
Yeah.
your market is full of farmers who need quality breeding stock, then you are going to be producing for farmers.
Oh, so then to even venture into goat farming, to be specific, you should first of all know your reason for venturing into it. That would help you know the right breeds to start with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you should know your market first.
Okay.
And that market will inform why you start this farm.
Right.
And then you start that farm to feed that market. So if anybody asks you, why are you starting this? You're like, oh, in my community, they kill 20 goats a day. That's the reason why I'm starting a goat farm, so that they will not have to travel to Niger or Burkina, but they will come to my farm and buy it.
Okay. Then let's narrow it down to our markets. So for the markets you have been navigating all these years, please, what would you recommend?
I think so. Depending on your strengths, there is definitely two markets that I will recommend to people.
Okay.
There is a market for meat consumption.
Sure.
So if you are a young man, an elderly man, you want an investment in something, you want to go for the meat market. So the meat market, all the restaurants around. I visited a restaurant in Accra maybe a month ago, and they told me that in a month, just one restaurant is killing about 100 goats. And they asked me, can you supply us? I was like, heck no. Well, you kill my farm in like 3 months. So that's not possible. Why is that not possible in Ghana? Why can't any farm supply this one restaurant with 100 goats, just one? And that restaurant is not even the biggest restaurant in Ghana. So you can imagine all the other restaurants, their demand. That's different from abattoirs in all the communities that are also killing for your mom, your sister, your auntie to go and buy and also bring home and cook. So in a way, that demand is huge, and we need to fill that gap. Number two, in order for us to get to that point, we need to be able to have breeding stock. So there is also going to, through this video and so many more, going to be a huge demand for farmers who wants to go into goat farming. Now, for a farmer to decide to go into goat farming, they need what we call the breeding stock. If you go to the market and just buy any goat from the street, the issue is 90% of those goats are rejected or sick goats. The quality is very down because nobody has enough to be able to sell something quality to you. They will only sell when they don't like it or when it has a problem. Right? So you go into the market to buy a goat to rear, you've been set up to fail because you're starting with the wrong products. And that's a big problem. That alone creates a market for farmers. So now you don't become a B2C but rather a B2B farmer. So you're setting up your farm like what we do here. So mostly farmers, if they want to start a farm, will come to us and buy the breeding goat from us because they know we are setting up our farm for other farmers.
So, Fred, let me get this right. What you are saying is that you can't just walk into a market to buy an animal to start your good farming with. Is that right?
I will not, you can, but I will not recommend it.
Okay.
I think from my experience, most of the animals that come to market are not coming purposely for breeding.
Yes, okay.
They are coming for sales. And anything that has scarcity issues, then quality is always kept to themselves.
Yeah, you're
Right. So because of the scarcity in our livestock industry, people only sell what they don't want.
Wow.
It's not like in the US and other countries where you go and they have like 70,000, huge. So their purpose is we have enough. So every extra is going for, either breeding or is going for slaughter.
Okay.
And that distinction is made clearly. So if you're going to buy a livestock, is it for breeding or is it for slaughter?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But here, there's no distinction. A farmer just wants to sell and get his money back. Right. So we need more farmers who are going to come in and say, I'm going to breed and sell only the best for farmers to succeed.
Okay.
So we start those journeys, we will be starting on the wrong foot.
Right. I really like what you've said and how to start right with the right breed. Those quality breeds you are talking about, I know they are not cheap at all. So I want us to bring the bar down just a little for the sake of a high school graduate somewhere in West Africa who wants to, as it were, have a gap year and use that gap year to venture into livestock farming. Fred, I'm saying a high school graduate, so you don't think of some top businessman who can easily afford 10 Kalahari goats. Please, for such a person or for such class of people, how do we encourage them with this knowledge of the right breeds that is easily accessible to them, please?
I think, so we have other local breeds that we sell. So, if you want the local breeds, which are ranging from, 700, 1,000 to start, you can contact us and we'll be able to tell you if we have a breeding goat for you, we will give it to you. If we don't and you need our help in sourcing, that's another thing we can help you, because even when we go to the market, we'll be able to help you identify goats that can help you grow your farm so that you are protected instead of just going and buying any goat at all.
Well, guys, I told you we would bring you the best. Right there, you heard it. If you are new to all of this venture or business, you need the help. You really, really can't do it without the knowledge. And just like Fred said, we have it. Or if you need the knowledge, the know-how to come to where you are, to source the right animals to start your farming business with, please do contact Farming in Africa. I always say you have our details in our bio on all our socials. Please get it and let's take it from there. Let's be a bit more specific with the local breeds we have. So do we have types of local breeds? How many varieties? Do we even have any variety at all? Because they all look the same to me anyway. So please, you are the experts. Tell us if there are any differences and which ones you would even recommend, please.
I think when it comes to the local breeds, we only have the West African Dwarf. Yes, and that's the only breed we have, which we can call local in Ghana.
In Ghana?
Yes.
What of looking at West Africa as a region?
I think then you talk about the Sahelian goat as well. Those are also different breeds. From the Sahel, but mostly when you're bringing those goats in, then you need to be careful in the climate. They are very used to dry areas, so if you bring them to a very tropical area, you might have a lot of issues with parasites. So you need to be very careful in terms of their management as well.
Comparing them with the ones from South Africa, do you think they are more affordable?
Obviously, they are more affordable because,
Okay.
bringing them from Mali or Niger to Ghana is a short distance as compared to flying goats from South Africa all the way to Ghana. It makes the cost very high in terms of bringing them from Mali. But the value of the South African goats is way also higher.
They're in a
than
different class.
exactly. So, I mean, if you have the funds, why don't you start?
Right.
Well, but if you don't, then start from somewhere. But then you aim to have a boa goat one day. You aim to have a savannah goat one day, and you work towards that. Because I've had people, sell numbers of their livestock just to come and buy one of mine, whether it be in cattle or goats, And so that's another thing, if you brand yourself well, if you start with quality, then you're also creating an impression. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So quality would always speak for you. The value you dish out there would always return to you. Just remember that. And Fred, I want to ask again, can you give us a clear difference between the Sahelian and the West African dwarf, which you say are the only local ones in Ghana? So, I mean, now looking at West Africa as a region, we have the Sahelian you mentioned and the West African dwarf. What's the difference? Which one would you recommend that is better so you could start with it, please?
Yeah. I think the West Africans are very adaptable. So if you're starting as a new farmer, their immune system is very strong and adapted to this climate and the diseases. Exactly. So it's much safer for you to start and get the experience and the learning. But experiences are also built from challenges. So if you have a goat that is not getting sick, you're not learning. Right. So till it gets sick and you have to try and test, and that's when you know. But they are the safest if you're starting. They are the cheapest, so you can start from there. And then as you go ahead, you can introduce the Sahelian if that's what is accessible to you. The combination of both gives you a much better product than each of them. The West African has more meat than the Sahelian, but they are also so tiny, that it limits the meat quantity, right? The Sahelians are tall, so if you're able to crossbreed them, then you're getting the height, which enables you to get more meat out of it, because the way our market is, people come and they see the weight, the size, and they will give you, a price for it. So mostly that's what most people are trying to. And I know a few Ghanaians are also worried about their, indigenous smells and all that. But would you rather have some goat meat or none at all? That's the point we are heading towards, because as you continue eating the West African dwarfs and nobody's populating them, we are not going to get it. And at some point, their price is going to be so expensive that, Charlie, you just want some meat to chew, right? So I think we need more farmers in the goat farming business to increase our population, because it is not growing as it should.
Interesting. Fred, you definitely know your market, I must say. But you said something that caught my eye. You mentioned the smell. For someone who knows this market that much, what's with the smell that whenever in Ghana, especially, you mention goats, the next follow-up question is there smell there? Please educate us a bit. Does it come with this breed, or what exactly is the smell?
I think it comes with the breed and also the environment, plays a role. But yeah, the West Africans are known for that. But if you go to the US, they don't have that smell. So the US has the West African goats, but they don't have the smell like in Ghana.
Hey, viewers!
Yeah. Okay. So that's why the environment plays a huge role. The kind of herbs they are eating,
Really?
Yes, and that's why. So imagine if these smells were in the US. Trust me, it would have made the news. In the US. I've had a friend actually bring me a goat from somewhere, Bolliger or somewhere. He went to work and he brought me a goat. We started cooking that goat in my house, and my wife drove us out of there. We couldn't continue. We had to pack the goat from the bowl, pour it in. I had to dash it to somebody. We live in an estate and the whole place was smelling. I was like, I've never in my life, So it does exist. As much as I loved it, that was too much for me. So the environment definitely enforces, the smell.
Guys, trust me, I don't even know how we got into this. But yes, I know that the smell definitely is associated with certain breeds of goats. And for us here in West Africa, to be specific, Ghana, the smell is a desirable quality. I mean, Fred has done a good job at it by trying to let you know how it impacts even the market and things like that. So I would want us to wrap it up, but in summary, to that random person out there who is considering venturing into this business, Fred, please, how important is this breeding? I really want you to stress on it, because in the beginning you mentioned if you don't get it right, but you have the best structures and facilities in place, still.
Yeah.
So please, in a nutshell, tell us how important the breeding is.
I think, as a business, you want to look at your profit margin. You want to look at the return on your investment.
Yeah.
And one thing I can assure you is if you are able to get it right, it is very profitable.
Okay.
That I've seen farmers, mostly not here, but in East Africa, in South Africa, that their entire family, this is what they do. And it's success. Yes, I was with a breeder in South Africa. 2 of his kids are in the US going to school. He and the wife does is goats. He breeds goats, right? So their multiplication factor is great. You don't need too much capital to start because of their size, the amount of food they eat, the structure is very cheap to start. So it's an easy way to actually start. Most people actually start from goats before they grow to cattle, because if you want to start with 5 cows, you need maybe 50,000 or so. If you want to start with 10 goats, you need just maybe 10,000. So that makes it easier to start. But the biggest challenge is you need to get it right.
Yes.
You don't go in it anyhow. Reach out to us, let us help you with education. Come to our seminars, come to all the workshops that we do. Get the experience that you need to be able to be successful. Otherwise, you will pay the price later.
Otherwise, you'll pay the price later, guys. If I were you, I wouldn't want to be paying the price later when there is easy access to one of the best in the industry. So please, if you want to start this, start it right. And talking about rights, farming in Africa is here for you. You've journeyed with us throughout the years. Even if you are new, go through the videos we've posted over the period, and then that should tell you how good we are at this. So it's not just about blowing a horn or marketing something to you. It's about giving you value for your money's worth. Once again, pick our contacts from our bio. We are on all socials: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, right here on YouTube. If you are new, please subscribe. And even if you've subscribed and you like the kind of content we keep churning out to you day in, day out, you would want to hit the notification button so you get notified as soon as we post anything up. Guys, thank you, and see you in the next episode. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you very much, Nadia.